filled in the Corki, which
I already put them in my guesses for where they're going to be banned.
There's a little bit of variety there, but Corki to me seems like a no-brainer. But that first pick Milio, as long as there isn't a reliable counter to that, the way we have seen with a lot of other support picks blind, I think that's going to remain the meta amongst our best teams because Milio enables so many different things. It forces a Lucian pick on your opponent's side because Lucian Milio is still considered the absolute top-tier bottom lane, as no Yordle being taken out just yet. A lot of peanut bans, though.
Yeah, a lot of peanut bans for T1. The Orianna takeaway means that maybe they still are going to go for this Azir. The Lucian gets taken off the board, so potential red side Milio Lucian or something like that denied. Still first pick Lucian here if you are Home Life Esports, if you would like. But what's this final ban going to be? Will we see the Corki banned away? No, it's Sejuani, and Corki is once again ignored in a ban phase.
Wonder if T1 want to opt into an early rotation rel, or whether they're saying Peanut's not going to prioritize that. Instead, we take away some of his comfort picks. This is an interesting pick because Zeus has absolutely been massacring people on it. And the hover showcases that they do know that it is, in fact, something that might be at the forefront. But it's going to be the Corki, unsurprisingly, picked up here. You do trade the Milio for that. That alone, though, not going to be enough to make it feel worth your while.
Yeah. Let's see if they do want to go for that. Kalista also still available. They will lock that one up, and they're not going to take the Renata with it just yet. They're not going to blind the Renata, which has been a problem from time to time. They're just going to take Nico, which we do know that Faker does love his Nico.
Did already pick up POG on that, and this to me is T1 saying, you're picking Corki, you're probably going for more scaling, as we're already seeing the Xayah Rakan sure to follow, because it is Delight, who obviously is probably our best Rakan by a fairly large margin. In general, one of our best supports, but his Rakan has been incredible for years. But T1 is saying, we do not care. This game is not going to go past mid-game, because the Nico, the Kalista already, this is a very, very clear move towards a really aggressive early to mid-game style composition. Renata makes perfect sense. Renata obviously isn't going to feel nearly as good to Corki when we get to the mid to late game, but what we've seen from T1, I think, does get... Oh, that is... So, I think there are...
Nocturne.
Yeah, I think there are a lot of picks that you can go with the Kalista that are still good, but the Nocturne-Nico combination is obnoxious. It makes it so much harder to reliably play out any mid-game team fight, because you can both TP behind enemy lines, you can make it even harder to respond to a Nico play, which already has been a big problem. At the same time, though, it does further solidify. Like, once you get to mid to real late game, Oner isn't really going to be able to do a whole lot. Unless they find a way to pivot and maybe go for a 1-4 style, depending on what counterpick Zeus gets here. That could be an option, but unsurprisingly, the Renata does get taken away, and Keria won't have that 2v2 available to him.
I do still think that Keria can play pretty much anything in this lane. I think Renata, Glask, and Kalista is probably like the S tier as a duo, but you could play Ashe, you could play Jhin, you could play a tank, you know, you could throw in a Nautilus, not sure if you really want to, but if you want some more hard engage to get on top of the Corki, maybe that's an answer. We'll be curious to see what Keria will look towards when it comes down to it.
And a lot of tanks being banned away here, maybe looking for a carry versus carry matchup for the top side. Something that Zeus... And I was joking about it earlier, obviously Doran, there's a couple of really high stakes moments, but Zeus has been the better top laner, unsurprisingly, because he's been, you know, he was the best top laner at Worlds, so that generally is good for your stock. Rumble is going to get taken away here after, and I imagine to see Keria pick up his support here. Otherwise, it's going to be something really crazy. The Ashe stands out to me because it's dropped in priority. Keria is definitely the best Ashe that we have. When it was meta, it was perma-banned, and it originally came up as one of the ways to deal with the Rakan specifically because of the level 1 being as insanely oppressive as it was. Always also expected to have mid lane prio, and a jungler who post-6 has a lot of potential to dive, so I think the combo works very well. Also alleviates some of the hard engage issues. I think only Ashe Arrow by itself isn't going to be super exciting, and Aatrox That could be a Yone angle here for Zeus. And Hanwha Life just going for a very straightforward composition. The Rel would be the most obvious choice here. We'll see if they want to go in a different direction. Maybe something that can deal a little bit better with the pressure of this Nico. Lee comes to mind, but given that it's Peanut, I think a tank is most likely.
Or Poppy. But yeah, I mean...
Those are the two.
He is going to go for the Poppy, it looks like. That is a Peanut special as well, so had to throw it in there. Very good against some of the dashing, the Kalista, and stuff like that, and just providing a front line. So is it Yone? I mean, picking Aatrox blind into Zeus is probably the most dangerous thing you could do because this guy is the Yone top player. And he's just going to pick it. He says, okay, you know, don't have to be cute with it. I'm just going to play the champ.
And this was somewhat unavoidable for Hanwha because especially with Udyr and Cassandre gone, like what actually are your blind picks? Rumble is also not there. So nice trap being set up. I wouldn't have hated it. But then you get Gwent. Or God forbid, Cho'Gath. I remember that's a champion that exists in League of Legends.
No, he doesn't exist anymore, actually.
So Hanwha Life have a very clear late game win condition. The 1-4, I think, from T1 can be quite strong, but T1 is going to have to heavily rely on this mid-game spike. Very tough composition to actually execute, and I think that are a lot of opportunities for Hanwha there. If they can maintain good vision control, keep track of Faker and Oner, and make sure that they don't get caught off guard by any paranoia and Nico ultimates, I think there is an opportunity for them to get to that promised land. And they have Corki, so just get to late and you'll probably win.
You probably will. And there's not a lot of champs on the side of T1 that can soak any Corki damage at all once he picks up 3 items. So that's definitely going to be their win condition. T1 do not want to play that game at all. They're going to be putting on pressure and putting it on early. And looking for some very nice team fights that are very tricky and annoying to deal with Nico Nocturne. Let's jump out of the rift for game number 1. Here we go. Game number 1 between Hanwha Life Esports and T1. Always manages to bring us some fun games. We talk often about the D plus Kia versus Genji matchup. That brought us some fun games just yesterday in Saturday's Showdown. But also Hanwha Life Esports and T1. Hanwha Life have oftentimes challenged them to a pretty high level and brought us to 3 games and brought us to a close series.
Yeah, I can't believe that was yesterday, because the amount of League of Legends that's happened between then and now is truly remarkable.
Yeah.
It's been a lot. And it's the final match of the week as well, VODS. After this, we're already done with week 2.
That's weird.
Isn't it weird?
It's already 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Where did they go? What happened during those weeks? Who am I?
Question we ask. Well, you are Brendan VODS, as far as I'm aware.
Oh, yeah, I think you're right.
Who I am is up for debate at this point, given the amount of renames.
Mr. Middlebrook.
Yeah.
So
this is, Ash level 1.
They kind of had to go into this brush because otherwise you don't get to step up to the minions, right? But you just take a bunch of poke damage and then you don't really get to step up to the minions either. So Rakan, he can do some nice healing with his Q. It's pretty important that he hits those just to give them a chance to stay alive in this lane. But Keria and Gumayusi were always going to be in that brush and get an advantage right from level 1.
Nice for Delight that he does actually hit the Q. The saving grace for the Hanwha bot lane is that the enemy jungler is Nocturne, whose early ganking is very mediocre. If this was a Poppy, I wouldn't be surprised if Oner went for like a red buff into early level 3 and try to dive bottom, trying to maybe catch Viper and Delight, because there is obviously a wave being stacked here, but with Nocturne, you just want a full clear until you hit level 6, and that's really the end of it. And Guma and Keria are perfectly capable of getting themselves a lead without any help, which, given the matchup, comes as no surprise, but definitely is going to be a little bit rough for Viper. But they shouldn't have come as a surprise, as Hanwha kind of opt into this the moment you go for Zyra Khan against T1's bot lane specifically.
Yeah. And they had already picked Kalista. So Yeah, you know what's coming, and you're just going to have to deal with it. And see already CS being pretty rough. The poke is coming down. They already have a turret plate as well, and they know exactly where Peanut was just a moment ago. And the question mark ping comes down onto him right as he hits the Krug.
That's insane. I knew his poppy was good. I didn't know it was that insane.
Oh, yeah. 91% win rate. He's only lost twice in the LCK, ever.
Absolutely remarkable. That is... Oh, hey!
By the way...
But this is way less games, right? Like,
yeah.
this is still...
but Oner's Lee Sin is the one where it's like...
By the one where it's like, that's not fair, actually.
Yeah.
That's not cool. You
Both
can't
of these
do that.
players win a lot. So it turns out...
They have, yeah, I mean, they've been the most winningest over the last 2 years.
Yeah.
By like a large margin as well. Mm-hmm. As Oner actually ganking on Nocturne. This is, of course, a Corki, so don't think you're going to get a lot out of it unless
Faker has to hit the root.
Yeah, exactly.
And even then, I mean...
It's not, yeah, there just isn't really realistically a way where you get anything but a flash, and I think even that's a stretch. Oner also identifies that. Just goes back home. As, yeah, Viper still not having the best of time. Fortunately, this is a cannon wave, so he'll be able to get this. And when it comes to XP, I don't think he's as far behind, although the Light's about to hit level 4, which doesn't bode well for Viper.
Yeah. He's down a good, just natural 16 CS as the waves crash equally there. So, it's a bit of a problem. Zeka's doing a great job in the 1v1 here. He's going to force Faker to back. I mean, Faker does have TP, and Zeka already did, so... At the end of the day, not too big of a deal. It is Corki after all. We're not going to be looking for huge gaps or plays or anything like that in this lane.
Actually, Zeka went for a Halo Blades as well. So, pretty interesting. Usually we see I think the Fleet is the most common one. I'm pretty sure we've seen some First Strike Corki as well, which is the one that really feels notoriously unfair when you get to mid to late game. Halo Blades, the early laning phase, particularly the first 6 levels, I think are going to feel really tough to deal with. As we only see, I think it's, yeah, 2 Void Grubs being taken.
Void Gentlemen.
Benefit of that, obviously the first one you're always going to get as a jungler to pick up the extra XP, so Oner gets that one. And it doesn't really slow him down on his inevitable level 6 no rush. He's trying to get there as soon as possible as a suspicious minion.
No, it's just a normal minion.
Just a normal minion?
Yeah, he's just going for a little walk.
Going on a side quest?
Yeah. They do that sometimes. They go into the river.
They do actually sometimes, yeah.
Go fishing, you know.
Fishing?
Yeah.
Huh.
They catch like 5 fish, hand it into the quest giver. It's generally the way it goes.
Kind of fish?
Carp.
Carp?
Yeah.
I figured Summer's River more of a...
No.
more of a trout.
There's also salmon in there.
Ah, okay.
You know, it's kind of weird. Peanut's here. This is a Ocean Drake first, which is quite nice. And would help T1 put on even more pressure in the lanes. And they will be able to pick it up. Doesn't look like Common Life Esports really want to fight this, although Peanut does go in for a little break the wrist and walk away, but it's not going to work as level 6 is Oner, and he's looking for blood, and he will have it. First blood goes to Oner as he says, well, you can't block this, Peanut.
And Peanut cannot, for a fact, block that. Completely unnecessary there to go in, because they were clearly backing off already. And the crucial thing there was that Oner had already hit 6. So actually being, or rather having the paranoia available there, I think is what really freed Peanut up. I don't think he was expecting his opponent to already be level 6, because this is actually really early if you look at the rest of the map as well, right? Being able to pick it up this early, actually done, I think at this point, a double full clear, picked up 2 of the Void Grubs, and then also got the Dragon, was enough to get him that ultimate available, and Peanut has to pay for it with his life. So far, all according to plan for T1, picking up the early lead, which they need. They really do. So yeah. It's good, but also a necessity. That was a bit close.
Nearly stopped both of their backs. And the auto goes all the way back into the fountain. Take another look here. Oner hits level 6 on the Drake, which is why, I guess, they supposed he wouldn't be 6.
I mean, this is a really early point for the Nocturne to be 6, right? But yeah, Peanut takes the risk and gets promptly punished. We will now see Oner take up the final grub, as Faker is ensuring that Peanut doesn't get anywhere near this. And early game comp so far, not looking too bad.
Yeah, looking pretty good. First Nocturne ultimate is always kind of a breaking point to see how useful the Nocturne is going to be. And he was quite useful on that first one. And he's almost got his ult back as well. So you can imagine getting some Ultimate Hunter stacks, get that one, and just try to get back out on the map as soon as possible. We got to dive in top, as an ult is going to be used into Doran. And Doran doesn't really care about that too much, as in goes Faker, looking for the knockup. Flash coming in. This is the second Nocturne and the Ash Arrow as well. You gotta be kidding me, as the damage will come in. And that is gonna be the end of Zeka.
And without the Ash Arrow, it wouldn't have been enough. You actually saw Oner taking a lot of damage there. Zeka was doing such a good job in the 1v1. It was actually sitting at, I think, like 10-15 CS lead. Only one with a gold lead on the side of Hanwha. Keria showing, though, why he was not allowed to play that Ashes.
Goes forward, yeah. Fade's call forced.
And that is the ultimate from Vipergun as well.
We got a World Ender here, as nicely predicted from Doran on the clapback, but the flash, and Zeus does get away.
Yeah, I think Zeus, the flash alone might not have been enough, but I think he had a third Q buffer there. If he didn't have that, he didn't make a little jump over the wall, could have been the end of him. Doran definitely punishing nicely, as no emotion.
He doesn't say anything. He doesn't even watch. He's like, okay,
not even a nice.
I need to push Viper and delay back. I don't care about mid lane. Like, they can get my arrow. It's fine.
Who cares? I don't need it.
I need to dominate my lane. And you know what? Went back and started pushing them back in. This plate is not going to be denied. And
yeah,
Keria's here.
So the good thing for Hanwha is that any mistake from T1 will get them back in the game. They have still an incredible amount of scaling, and this is a effectively close to melee comp into Corki, Poppy, and the Xayah, but simultaneously Zeka rather also didn't really have to go in there necessarily. They would actually start with him going in aggressively, the same way it did with Peanut. And if you're an Akali, you know, probably get away with that one. If you're a Corki and your main goal is just getting to your Malignance, your Eclipse, and your Mana Mune, then it doesn't really fulfill your objective. Wave clear is good though, so no dive going to be available here for the bot lane of T1, but second Drake seems inevitable at this point.
Yeah. And the Nocturne it's one of these champs that snowballs so hard, you start getting more and more stacks. His ult is up already, and he clears the jungle so quickly. He's up to like 90 CS. Not too far behind his solo laners, and he's threatening yet another play with his ult, and you can see he's up there towards the top of the gold diff. So Poppy is going to be nice in the front line, but so far hasn't been able to do anything, and in fact was Oner's first kill. So Peanut definitely behind the 8-ball on this one.
Yeah, the second kill was a mix of, I think, really nicely played by T1 and a little bit unlucky. The fact that Keria hits the arrow, that's what ends up killing him in the end. But the Peanut one, that is definitely costly, because as you point out, Nocturne, when he can start the snowball, is a big menace, as Doran forces the ultimate this time around.
Yeah, trade of ultimates. And the threat on the bottom side, and the fact that Viper and Delight basically don't exist yet, means they just get a second Drake. And it's Infernal Soul. So no Ocean Souls here. It is just going to be T1 potentially ramping up into a massive Soul when they're already pretty far ahead.
Yeah, definitely subpar for Hanwha Life. We're probably looking at maybe a Chemtech angle. Not going to be the case.
Yeah. Well, we got a TP coming in, trying to make a play. Meanwhile, Smite a wave on the Bubs as they're trying to get all 6. Guma still has Flash, but he's charmed up, and he's just going to hold on to it. So nice play here from Hanwha Life Esports. Going to pick up that kill on Guma, It is going to be 6 Void Buffs in the hands of T1, though. And they could use that to just put on more pressure with their early to mid-game comp.
Cross map is alright, but definitely a big win for Hanwha. It gets gold into the pockets of Viper, who is one of the members that was really put down by this. And it also showcases the one big weakness of these style of lanes, particularly as we get into the mid to late game, which is overextending is very easy to punish. Well done there by Hanwha Life to make sure that the gold doesn't slip too far. Because if they can maintain, you know, like 1, 2, 3k gold deficit, it's not going to be the end of the world. But really, I think the hardest part is going to come when we get to post 20 minutes. Because that's when you know T1 is going to use their lane leads to get prio, then choke out vision around Baron, and then you have 2 options. Either you walk in and try to see if they're doing it, or you don't, and if you don't, then you probably lose Baron because it's T1, and they love Baron. And if you do, you need to be ready for the Yone, Nico, and Nocturne that are going to dive your backline.
Yeah, Ash Arrow. Fate's Call. Just adding some more stuff in terms of engage. Yeah. Not necessarily backline access, but yeah, it is going to be a lot of threats for sure. Zeka does not have the package. He is bottom lane. He has TP, but
go. That's fine.
Let it go. They say, okay, we're scaling. We're going to hunker down for the long winter. And maybe we can get Corki to 3 items. That's got to be their goal at this point.
Corki and Xayah. Just give them enough time, and eventually they'll be able to make it work. And especially into the T1 comp, this holds true. But I mentioned the Baron already. The second big problem, which is definitely more immediate, is in about 2.5 minutes, which is a possible Soul point.
Yeah.
At like 17 minutes, meaning that you're going to have to fight for Soul at 22, but that's not. That's still not great. It's not where you want to be, ideally.
Yeah, it's pretty fast. T1 have definitely done a good job of keeping the pace of this game up. Kind of just led by Oner ultimates, essentially. Arrow is going to be shot on in. Doesn't hit Doran. Keria's here. Not sure about the Ashe gank, but at least can stop the back. And he'll be annoying just like that. Giving his top laner now a little bit of extra lead up on that top side. Maybe can do some damage to that top turret.
Already won mid, trying to win top as well. Doran doesn't have TP though, and this is the one price that they do have to pay for the play towards bot side. Zeus might have an opportunity here, especially with the 6 little Kevins biting away at the turret. Not going to be the difference maker, but I just like acknowledging that they exist. It's going to be first turret blood here for T1. And now, long term becomes a question, was it still worth to get that kill on Guma? They got a dragon as well, could have been, but losing that topside turret and putting Zeus this far ahead this early on is definitely a big problem.
Yeah, and I am curious to see how Hanwha Life Esports is going to fight these 5v5s that they need to. I mean, one Infernal Drake, the Infernal Soul Point, that doesn't feel great, but as you mentioned, the very accelerated soul, actual soul of the Infernal at 22 minutes. Will they be able to fight that? What kind of items is Zeka going to have? Is he only going to have Malignance by that point? It's another question to ask, because can they realistically fight? I'm not so sure about that. T1, if they do set up, you know, some good wards, some good coverage around that bottom river, I would imagine they should be able to control this area of the map pretty easily.
So the one angle that I do think Hanwha Life have is that their chain CC is really, really strong. Between Doran and particularly Delight and Peanut, there is a lot of team fighting power there. The problem is that because all your lanes are so far behind, actually getting prio is basically impossible. As the charge!
He's looking for this, and now he's going to be denied to come back as Poppy was right there. Oner playing with fire right before the Drake. Maybe having a little bit too much fun with that Rift Herald.
Yeah, I don't know if they didn't know where Peanut was or if they got caught off guard by the interaction there, but technically Oner flying through the air as he gets knocked off of Herald is a dash. So Poppy gets to press Stefan's presence, and this could be a crucial breaking point. If Hanwha Life deny this dragon to T1 and somehow delay the timer by 5 minutes, that could be all the time they need, but they don't have that much setup. Their own vision control on their own jungle is decent. They don't have a lot of control on the other side.
Yeah, I mean, take a look at this. The 1v1 is getting out of hand right now. Doran, He has to pop World Ender just to stay alive, just to run. And the rest of the team here in the 4v4 trying to set up. Zeka does have the package, but the lights are off. And where is Faker coming from is the question. He goes in onto the Poppy. Faker does not commit. Now he goes in a massive 3-man ultimate. He gets the Featherstorm, and Yone is here. Zeus gets in from behind. He is going to be isolated, though. Nicely done. And it was actually the Dragon going the way of Life Esports. But look at the follow-up here from the side of T1. The Roots come in as Doran is getting massive. And now Viper frontlining. He gets the root onto Faker. And he wins the fight for the team.
And T1, they further solidified our gold lead, but Life keeps the game within touching distance because Peanut actually got the Dragon. That is really big, and that alone won't be enough. We can see the team fight here. Crucial is that Faker draws a lot of attention, but they're also very aware that he initially was there. So instead, they wait for the damage to come through. By the time Faker goes in, he does do a lot, but because there is no Kalista at this point in time, there isn't enough damage. So Zeus gets focused down quickly, and then that flash from Zeka. If you have 3 items, you can get away with that. Not right now, but fortunately, for Life, Viper has been relatively untouched. Great sidesteps there as well to ensure that he's actually able to walk up, picks up another kill, and we've now 2 kills on Viper and 5 more minutes added to the clock. This game not broken open just yet.
Viper's here to win. I mean, the way he played that team fight was actually perfect. Like, he Featherstormed right when Faker came in, dodged the first issue. Then he pulled back the feathers perfectly onto Yone, onto Zeus, who was flanking him. Perfect timing on that. Then he gets the extra root onto Faker later on to pick up the second kill for the team. And I guess Peanut was, you know, he was the one who smited the Dragon. So those were the two basically that won that fight for Life Esports, essentially, and some of the advantages that they did get. So pretty insane stuff from Viper. He is here to win. That is for sure. Zeka has built his second item.
It's starting already, right?
It's getting close.
And as you highlighted, the only one that can reliably tank these is Oner with Spell Shield. The one issue that we do see, though, even though that team fight didn't really end up being a match, we saw just before then, is that Zeus is not matched. Like, no one can match this Yone. Zeka can wave clear pretty reliably, but if he ever gets caught, he's obviously dead. Doran is down a level, and this matchup does not get any better from here on out, so he really needs to respect. His team fighting looks great there, a lot of sustain with the Profane Hydra, but that alone not going. Oh, there we go.
Stuck around. The ult is used by Zeus, but Doran does dodge quite a lot. Has to deal with this Unbound Soul as the Q3 comes through. Doran getting pretty low, but will survive.
But this is my issue. Like, he dodged the ult. Zeus doesn't even have a second item yet, and he still lost that.
Arrow just to stop a potential back, I guess, but Doran was way back in the lane, so it doesn't end up doing much. And it's just fine.
That puts more pressure on Delight and Peanut to actually be able to go in aggressively. And I think, in general, Life, they're going to have to reach the point where they're just going to look for fight after fight after fight because the situation inside is not really manageable, at least when it comes to Zeus. Infinity Edge done now. None of this, I'm a tanky Yone. Yeah. No, he's probably going shield bow for it as well. So he's going full ham. No Jack shows, no Iceborne, actually going all in on the damage here.
I mean, you might as well. It doesn't look like he's really being threatened by Doran right now. So if you actually begin to get kill pressure with some of these offensive items rather than the defensive counterparts, you're going to like your position. You're going to like the way you look. Let's see this. T1 is trying to group up here for the Baron, actually. And they have a Kalista.
No shocker there.
Yeah, they're just going to start it. This is the way that T1 functions. And they will look to turn if necessary. Keria trying to hold the door here for the team right now as Peanut is going to knock away the Nocturne, who could just ult back in. Also got Zeus, and that's going to put an end to that Baron try.
So that's the first attempt. Often more will follow, but successfully taken care of there by Life, and even get a little bit mid-prior here. See if they're able to do more than just that. And I think in the 1v1, this build from Zeus is going to be absolutely ludicrous. We already see that Doran is really struggling, even with the Edge of Night now finished. On the flip side, though, This T1 comp doesn't really have engage. Their only engage is Oner, turning off the lights, and then obviously the Ash Arrow, but I think realistically, it's going to be hard to reliably get value out of that unless you're already starting a fight or able to burst down a single target. But like looking at Hanwha Life, I feel like it's really hard to use that because you have Corki with W, Rakan, which is self-explanatory, and then a Poppy and an Aatrox.
Keria?
As Keria? Ooh.
All right, just trying to get some position in the mid lane, perhaps. Peanut, he's here. He's not going to get in, but he flashes anyway. And he puts that flash on cooldown. At least Atlas is happy, but everybody else on the side of Hanwha Life Esports is not. T1 going to take down that dragon extremely fast.
As there is the package now. Was Faker a Callista
That was a
Ghost?
Callista Ghost, yeah. I didn't even know you could do that. And now Hanwha Life Esports, they're going to start the Baron.
They have package.
They have package. They say, okay, you used a bunch. Here comes a very interesting Ghost who is looking for the angle. Look at him there. Let's see if he gets on in. They got to pull the trigger on this one, and Faker is looking for it. A 5-man ultimate! You've got to be kidding me! As they get on top of Zeka. The follow-up is huge! From the Xayah, they go a little bit too ham, and now Guma trying to hop away. That is going to be the end of that fight as T1, they take the lifeboat out of there as fast as they possibly can.
And Viper goes untouched again. Oh, Keria might be in trouble here. He's just going to walk past the tension.
Real ghosts or not, it's real. And nobody's going to pop out of that bush.
No one is that crazy, right? As incredible ultimate from Faker, but not enough follow-up. And crucially, Viper, again, goes untouched. Hanwha Life actually doing a stellar job. Doran actually proccing his Edge of Night as he goes over the wall into the Ash Arrow. Very, very funny. And it looks initially like T1 has the setup. 5-man knock-up, Oner into the backline, Zeus is there, but then the amount of burst that comes from that Q3 from Doran there, absolutely huge. And then at this point, you can't really continue forward as T1. They do deny the Baron though, which is a big win. And even with the gold deficit, game remains very even as Doran. Edge of Night coming up huge again. Yeah. Look at that, he's done the most damage in the game.
It helps when everybody jumps into one little tiny circle.
Tiny circle.
And he's right there.
But he's hitting that circle, Valdez.
Circle, yeah. No, it was great. It was well played. But again, T1 really, they indexed into, okay, we've got to kill Zek 100%, and they threw everything into him. But you got to remember that Hanwha Life Esports have so many threats. With Viper, with Doran especially.
Zeus is still 1,600 gold up.
Yeah. I mean,
very funny.
A lot of members on the side of T1 are up. The only person who is not is Guma, and that's because Viper has gotten so much gold from just getting a bunch of kills.
But we are about to, as we said at the beginning of the game, we are about to approach the point where Zeka is going to become so much more of a problem than he is right now. Once Eclipse is done, he's going to continually be able to, as we have seen many times, proc Eclipse with his Malignance, meaning that the amount of damage being done to T1 is going to go from quite annoying to completely
bonkers.
Completely bonkers. Yeah, I was going with uninteractive, but bonkers is better. And
it's like you're getting top-decked over and over and over again.
Yes. At the same time, though, we are seeing that the combo in theory for T1 works, and that combo, I think, is going to remain a big threat. Because if Viper ever doesn't have his ultimate, or is like a second too late, or Zeus clips him with an ultimate and Viper dies, that could very well be the end of it. But Viper hasn't done any dying in this game yet. I don't know if he's going to start anytime soon. Is Zeka?
Zeka just runs at Yone. What is that?
Yeah, that's...
Zeus just says thank you very much. That was very scrumptious.
You're not a Kali, man. You can't do that. That's a fat Yone! You're the big carry! You can't die!
Well, they needed him, and now T1 are like, oh, we can take a free Baron, okay. And that is going to get this teleport out of Doran. Can they actually get in here a little bit later from Faker, but he has Death Cap. Okay. He's ready for the engage if they want to go for the turn. Peanut looking for the knockback, looking for the bonk. He doesn't see anything as in goes Zeus, and he dies immediately as well. Oner getting into the backline just gets blown up. As they do take out Doran, but This is potentially a win for Alma Life Esports. They stopped the Baron. And now TP's coming in. Viper, he has to go into that Feather Storm. Not much of a follow-up here on a Peanut. As Zeka, he wants to hit some rockets, but T1 is already running away.
Ooh, still a win for Hanwha though. They were able to deny the Baron attempt, even with Zeka making a very questionable play. But T1 in 15 seconds. That Drake is coming up, and I think that even though the immediate arrow...
Oh, I don't want to see this again.
Yeah, this was... I had no idea. The W is not fast enough. You can't do that against Zeus. That is really a colossal error, which leads to this situation. This cancel from Doran, absolutely huge. Faker tries to go in for the play, but he's not allowed to pass, thanks to this Aatrox.
We gotta look at live. I mean, this is Delight's trying to make a play here. They're trying to get on top of Faker, and he is going to be isolated now. Trying to frontline for the team. It's not gonna work. There's a lot of sticks in this Dragon. Can they actually get it down, though, is the question. As Zeus is going 1v4 in the backline, he takes out Saya, and they get the Infernal Solstice. It's going 1v4, and they have to flash away from this one. Doran was not in the fight at all. He didn't have TP. And the TP advantage is going to be what turns this game on its head, as T1 will take out Delight as well.
And Hanwha Life were able to keep up. It almost looked like that was the moment where they finally turn it around, but instead T1 holds strong. Yes, Faker goes down, and they say, who cares? We have enough damage on the rest of our team. Even if they didn't win that fight and they didn't get the soul, just the Baron alone could have been a difference maker, but instead they get Infernal Soul, they get the Baron, and for Hanwha Life, a fight that looks like it starts off so well, with them immediately taking down Faker, so much of the combat power not being available there.
Just watch.
Yeah.
Just, yeah, this is what I want to see. Go slow, he says. Below. I got him. Go. Unbelievable. Well, that's the Smith's top laner at Worlds. And you get to see his POV right here at the LCK. He's asking if they can end, actually. That's kind of a bit much, even at this point in the game. I might as well just take the safe Baron, which they do. So now Infernal Soul, and he was already fed, but now he's even more fed and has Infernal Soul. Faker in a weird spot here. As Arrow's gonna come in, do they have the damage? He has to flash away. Might take away from their engage potential.
After seeing this new roster, I'm like, finally, Viper is freed. He's truly unleashed. And I don't think, outside of the one mistake that...
Just look at the scoreboard.
Okay, but in Doran's and Peanut's defense, I actually think they've been playing well. I don't think they're the problem. There is, however, another problem.
Zeus maybe a little bit too ham, but he is Yone, so he just gets to do whatever he wants. This is just the way the champ works. Doran here with the Edge of Night, looking for an angle now that they did push back Zeus. But T1 playing a pretty
still
balanced...
no Eclipse either.
He
but
just got
I don't even know if it's going to matter at this point.
He just got it. The kiting is coming in. The feather's going to root down Keria. And now, let's see if Zeka can hit some rockets. Yep. That's one of them. Okay. And Keria says, I am going to leave now.
But it's too late. Even us, quirky enjoyers, gotta admit that if the turrets already start falling,
or like a quirky respecter, okay? I don't exactly enjoy this gameplay.
I was being sarcastic, fellas. Don't you worry.
Okay, nice.
I'm glad we got to clarify that. I don't think it's enough. Base at this point is in shambles. There's no map control, and you're going to need a truly Herculean engage from Delight and Peanut, taking down, at this point, probably Zeus. It's probably the guy that you need to get.
Yeah.
And he's a Yone who I'm pretty sure is about to finish his GA. I don't know if he has it yet. He was already building towards it. Has shield bow as well.
It's only he and Viper that are at 15,000 gold. Guma's not that far behind.
With Death Stance, actually.
Yeah. Death Stance is pretty good.
No, it's a great item. I'm just was expecting him to go for GA, but instead, still a lot of extra tankiness for the Yone here.
Yeah, I think it's pretty worthwhile, especially the way that these team fights play out if he is going to team fight. There's a lot of burst damage potential on the side of Homolife Esports, can mitigate some of that. And looks like we might even get to Elder Drake territory here in this first game. T1 are pretty substantially ahead. I mean, it's 9,000 gold, the difference at this point in time. They have Infernal Soul as well, which is like, I don't even know. What's the value of an Infernal Soul? Like 5,000 gold?
It's
6,000?
Some of it like that, but also it scales with, like, look at the characters that they have.
Yeah.
It's if you have like a bunch
based on comp, of course.
Yeah, but in this case, like you have a fat Yone, a fat Nocturne, Nico with Death Cap,
a Callista.
Guma's in this game.
He's there.
He is there. And
he's not the main character.
We make fun of him because he's not the he's the guy that's like in the background with the main team.
Yeah.
You know, they're like doing the cool anime stuff, and he's like,
He's the background dancer for this game, you know?
Background.
He has been.
What anime? What anime, Valdez?
What anime?
Yeah. In which anime is he the background dancer?
It's like in a performance. There's background dancers, and there's the main person that you're there to watch.
I was going with an anime metaphor. I don't know enough about dance.
Know enough about anime?
Do you know about dance? That's new to me.
No, but I know about performances.
Okay.
A little bit. This arrow, let's see. Nope. Just going to sail wide. Kind of. If that catches Zeus, he is
was
dead.
like, oh.
Yeah. He is absolutely dead if that hits him. Also, if he got within range of Zeus as well, he was also dead.
So the one thing you need to make sure now of ST1 is do not flip Elder. Everything else is fine. You can just have Zeus put in the side lane and bait them in and let that be the end of it. You do actually have a lot of control around the pit, so I think your re-engages should definitely be a possibility. Yeah, the minimap is not liking
something's
Faker
going on.
Being a little spooky ghost.
Yeah, yeah. Anyway. It's just really funny. Homolife Esports.
Yeah, don't start it.
Yeah, they're just not going to flip. And they can poke really well as well. Not as well as Corky, but decently well. So now it's going to come through, and Homolife Esports say, okay, we're calling your bluff. Let's see if you can do it. Let's see if you can get on in here. They're going to get on top of Seka again. He's dead. And that's the end of the Corky. That ultimate, that was very unfortunate. And this goes the way.
Wait.
Okay,
Viper.
Do they get it? Viper, he's frontlining. He might be able to just scout it. I know he goes down. And now it's up to Doran. Can he do it with the Elder Dragon? Is the only question. As Zeus and Guma, I don't think even the Elder Dragon's going to help them at this point. The TP comes in from Faker. And we have the results of our first game. It looks like Faker trying to push in. Peanut is still alive, and he's doing the Wolves. Perhaps for some help.
We'll see if Peanut makes it back to his base. But the Nexus, that one is going to go down. And what a first game here. Viper trying to say, we're not going home, but unfortunately,